I don't know how to wave. This is a different camera setup from what I'm used to because I had surgery and I am bedridden. But anyway, hello single portal master watching. My name is Scrape, and today I have a giant bag of Skylanders in front of me. Why? Because I'm going to be attempting to do a random Skylanders repaint Christmas edition. No idea if anything is in frame. I hope it is. Yeah, I sure hope it does. Skylanders. So I just have a bag of all of my extra Skylanders that I have. And today, we will be grabbing one. I think only one. Yes, I'm gonna limit myself to only one to start. And we are going to be repainting them. Now, this is probably going to be a little difficult once again. I am basically bedridden from surgery. Top surgery, if anyone was wondering. I am officially half a boy. But I'm not going to be looking. I don't show my face, so you're going to have to trust me on that I'm not looking. I'm just going to rumble tumble all of them. And pour them out. I feel really bad for treating them so roughly, but my eyes are closed. And I'm going to do the first one my hand touches, because they're all different sizes and shapes. But, so, kind of feeling around would give me an advantage, but I'm just going to do the first one I touch. Okay. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, this one. We are doing Christmas Crusher. No idea how I'm gonna do this, but this is gonna be fun.
So, like all good repaints, I jumped in headfirst without making a single plan, idea, or really anything. I started by attempting to paint the crystals on his shoulder brace thingy red. Or I was gonna do green and red. Then I realized if I did that, it wouldn't glow anymore. And I wanted to try to have it still function like the typical Skylander would. So I later ended up scraping that paint off. Luckily I only did one coat, but yeah, right there I'm scraping it off. At least attempting to. And then I got paint everywhere. The perks of working in your bed. So as you can see, I already started painting his helmet red, and that was at the point I decided to do his helmet, and I don't know if I decided at that, well, I did decide at that point to paint the brace red as well. We're doing a traditional red and white with the green accents of the gems, as well as a few red gems around his body. I would have done the pieces metallic again, to fit with the whole metal theme, but I did not have any metallic red or white paint, so they are just matte. Well, semi-satin glossy-ish. And my first coats are always pretty messy, but I'll end up coming back and touching that up later. I'm also sorry for if Crusher is out of the frame, like right there, or if my head ever pops into frame. Because, again, a setup I'm not used to working with. I think I got the positioning better later on, but we'll just have to see. I was hoping to actually get this video up on the day I was recording, or am recording. How do you English? I was hoping to get this video up today, but as you can tell by the fact that I'm still recording things, I did not. So if everything goes according to plan, which at this point it should, this should be up Christmas Day. So hi, how's everyone's Christmas going? My Christmas crash has already begun, so I'm very happy about that. That was sarcasm, by the way. Oh yeah, I was off-screen mixing a lighter red / pinky tone to highlight some of the raised details in his bracelet, as well as add some highlights to the red gems that I had painted along his body. On the bracelet, I end up coming in later and kind of diffusing that pink into more of a faded red rather than the bright pink, because it was a tad jarring. And I'm just going in with a second coat of the red, and here I'm going over the raised bits too to try and tone them down a little bit, because I felt like they were popping a little too much. Just cleaning up the edges and everything best I can. And I'll clean it up more once I go in with the white and everything too. Just peeking in from frame there. There's a lot of back and forth when it comes to repaints. Usually I would have removed the lower base of paint if I was doing something like my candy-coated wrecking ball. I would have used acetone to remove the base paint and gone from there. But since he already had so much detail painted into the stone and the crystals were already mapped out and everything, I decided to just leave it and paint over top. No idea if that was the right move, but hey, I'm still new to this whole repaint thing, so cut me some slack. I'm honestly amazed I didn't end up spilling paint all over my bed while I was doing this. Came close. Later on, Loki ends up jumping into frame a few times, and he almost spilled my paint, or stepped in it, and fucked everything up, but that's okay, he was just curious. He wanted to help. And there I am, violently shaking him to try to dry the paint off. Just cleaning up the crystals more. Using one of my sculpting tools to add some highlights, which I end up going in and removing anyway, because I had to paint the white over, and I added them too early. I do end up coming back and redoing them. And here we have a lovely shot of the back of my head. And here I am going in with the first coat of white paint. Using the smallest brush I have, I still managed to get some white paint on the eyes. So I'm just attempting to both wipe and scrape it off. Which is... there's still a little bit left around the edges that I couldn't quite get, but overall I think it didn't go too horribly. I had considered leaving the rims around his eyes just the regular metallic, so I didn't accidentally paint over the eyes, but in the end I decided against that, as you can see. Now I know this isn't the most interesting Christmas video I could have done. I was hoping to come back with the Portal Master Sona video, but that is taking more effort than I expected to edit, and I'm also getting some voice work done for specific parts. So hopefully that'll make it the best it can be. So, update on that. I'm sorry guys, it's been taking so long. I am working on it, I promise. I'm just bad at prioritizing things. And thank you to everyone who has commissioned me over the past little while that has been so understanding and cooperative with the fact that I can't work at my usual speed. It is honestly really refreshing. And the second coat of white paint is going on, and it is quite messy still at this point. I think I end up cleaning it up a bit more off camera and just making sure everything is solid. Can't quite see it on the video, but it was extremely streaky at this point. And that is one of the downsides of working with just basic Craft Smart Michaels brand cheap ass paint. That's 99% water. It takes so many layers to become opaque, and it just is extremely streaky. But it works eventually, so hey, can't complain. Just because they charge like ludicrous amounts for what it is. I love Michaels. I really do love Michaels, so I can wander around that store for hours, especially around the holiday season. Like, whether the holiday is Christmas or Halloween. God, I love the Halloween decorations. I just want my entire house to be decorated with Michaels holiday decorations. If only they weren't so goddamn expensive. And it was at that point my phone died. Luckily, off camera, all I did was, again, touch it up a bit. So, I didn't miss any spectacular things, but I ended up having to charge it and then came back later to do the rest. Here I am touching up the green. I made it a tad more vibrant than it was originally, because it was a very desaturated green in the original figure, and I wanted to kind of bring that more Christmassy green in, as well as go back in and add the highlights to all the gems and stuff like I had for the red ones. So I thought it would just probably work better if I did a base coat of a more lively green. It doesn't quite match with the crystals on his shoulder now, but that's okay. Again, I'm very sorry for the bad angles. It was extremely hard for me to paint all those little nooks and crannies while also keeping it in frame. I don't know what would have happened if I had kept it in frame. It probably would have been even more messy than it already is. And the highlight I had originally mixed up was way too bright, so I ended up having to desaturate that, and then I go back in. It's a little darker, but I think it works better. I also off-screen end up adding a gloss varnish to the eyes, the crystals on his shoulder, and all of the crystals on his body, just to kind of set them apart from the rest of the matte stone. And here is the beginning of the end. While painting, I noticed he had these intricate rune markings on his hammer, so I wanted to try to highlight those by making them look like they were glowing. So I started with a base of white and then came back in with the colored paint, and I wanted it to be a fade from red to green. So I'm just attempting to do that, and it's just getting everywhere. It's not staying in the lines because my paintbrushes are old and they're very, like, all the bristles are pointing in opposite directions and I can't get detail to save my life. So when I'm trying to go in and, like, mix the paints and make sure it stays in the lines, it just does not work. And here I am adding white to the center, which probably would have worked better if I had used a lighter tone of the original paint, but I didn't. I thought the white would work fine. And from here, it doesn't look horrible, but in person it was, oh dear god, it was bad. And there's my cat. So I end up repainting over that with just white, and that gets even more blobby, and it's just not working. I end up even I use one of my sculpting tools to try to add highlights to the edges to try to highlight the sculpt, because I really wanted to. There's such intricate sculpting in a lot of Skylanders figures that just goes unpainted and unnoticed. Like, I didn't even know that was there. And it's been how many years since Giants came out? Almost 9? Almost 10 now. 9 years. It's been 9 years. And even though it's out of frame, that's where I'm adding the highlights and it's just not working. So I end up just going over it in black and trying to remove everything. My sibling Goose had the idea to make it a candy cane, but I felt like there was already a lot going on with the design and I didn't want to make it too busy, so I opted against that, though. Crusher with a candy cane hammer would be a very cool idea if I had done that originally. Candy cane crusher. Hey, maybe I'll do that. Repaint eventually, too. I just gotta get another crusher figure. And then I'm just adding some finishing touches, like a few more highlights, some artificial shadows, just to try to bring everything together, make it look not so flat. If I could take my head out of the frame, you'd actually be able to see that, but sadly not. Very sorry about that. You thought that was the end. But it was me. Dio! Apologies for the fucked up footage at this point. My camera seemed to have been having a stroke. But, if all of the red and green wasn't enough, I decided, that's not enough Christmas. Let's add some snow. My first pass on his right shoulder, on one of his shoulders, was extremely heavy. So I end up attempting to dab the rest of the paint off of the paintbrush, and I go back in and just, well, not paintbrush, it's sponge, and I just go back in and add it everywhere. I think it turned out pretty well on the hammer and on the base, even though it got on his feet a little. Though on his shoulder and his helmet and a few other places, I'm not quite sure about it, but I'll let you guys decide whether you like the detail or not. But yeah. After that, Christmas Crusher was finally finished. Thank you so much, Single Festive Portal Master, for making it this far into the video. We are out the outro. It is the last leg before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, Scrape was attempting to edit a video very last minute on their phone. That makes no sense. I'm having a stroke. If you can ignore how janky the editing is and how tired my voice has gotten throughout this voiceover, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the figure, I am considering selling it for some extra holiday cash. So if you want to add a special holiday custom figure to your Skylanders arsenal, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, wherever you see the name Scrapdoodle, and I'll see what I can do. If you want it. Yes. As you can tell by my incoherent babbling, I think it's time for me to sleep. So, thank you again. I hope you have a wonderful holiday, no matter what you're celebrating. My name is Scrape. This has been a holiday video. Don't know if it's a good one, but it has been one. And I'm wishing you all a Merry Christmas.